Nintendo Switch. The port appears to look fine. Don't see anything too obvious going on there. I did plug it to the computer and make sure it wasn't an RCM. It is not an RCM, so now let's plug it to the system, or the PSU rather, and see what happens. And we're drawing 0.00. That right off the bat points me towards either M92 or maybe the fuse, would be my guess. But I'm also going to plug it to my OEM and make sure it's not glitching out on me here. I've had those cases where it just glitches out for some reason and the OEM can bring it back. But that would be a big no in this case. Okay, looks like we have an actual problem. We will disassemble or disassemble enough to run some initial tests. I would like to plug either my battery squid in or a known good battery and test it just to make sure it'll power up and all that. We'll be back. Okay, we're ready to perform some testing. Well, almost ready. Need to connect the meter. And we'll fling you over to microscope for the testing portion, which may or may not reveal our problem. We'll start right here around M92T36. Let's see if I can get that more in view for you. And he's right on ground. As we still have a port, I have a good round point. Alright, let's check our P13 USB. Oop, it is dead short. Okay, so we are short on either Pi 3 USB or P13 USB, whichever one you call it. M92 seems okay. Alright. Our invincible fuse that's only ever blown once is fine. Let's check our rails. Everything seems okay in that area. Coil is fine. BQ seems fine. Okay, and all of our rails seem okay. So we don't have any shorts on any rails, but we do have a short on the Pi 3 USB. So we will have to take it apart and go from there. I don't want to do any testing really until we see what's going on the other side of the board. I mean, power testing with power anyway. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, we're back and we're ready to test our Pi 3 USB area. And it is definitely short. Huh. It's kind of odd. I would not expect that to just cause no power. Is this filter gone too? I'm starting to think this filter is gone too. Yeah, we're not getting anything through that. Yeah, it's gone. Okay, so right now we're at X on the filter and an X on the chip. Okay, everything else seems okay. So we're going to remove, I'm going to make sure this seems sound. It seems sound, right? Yeah. All right, so we're going to remove this filter. We're going to remove the Pi 3 USB. And we'll put new ones on. I do believe I still have the filters. I probably ought to check that. I may have to pull them from a donor if I don't. But I'm pretty sure I do. That looks like them to me. Alright. And I know we got the P13s. Alright. Very good. Just double checking we have the stock. Let's pull this guy. This is our pin 1 indicator right here. So, note to self, while I'm getting my equipment set up, we will throw up our temperatures and make sure we are on those temperatures. I'm going to change my nozzle, which means I'm actually going to turn the air off to do that. I hate hitting the button when I'm trying to change the nozzle. It always happens. Alright, and let's make sure you're switched over so I'm not doing this without you on camera. Grab some flux. We're going to check for that short. And hope it is gone. And it is gone. Alright, very good. Let's grab this filter. Looks like our port is no worse for wear, but my finger is, because that thing is really hot. Pro tip, don't touch the shim after you've applied a lot of heat to it. See if I can get in there with my micro. I think we'll come at this with the Pico pencil, so we will be using the Pico pencil on this one. And I think I have the knife tip still on there, so that's cool. That's actually probably pretty perfect for this. I just want to clean up these globs, make sure they're not bridged. Anything else? All right. I don't see any other bridges, so that looks good. All right, Let's test real quick, make sure our short has not returned. It has not. Very good. Make sure we're solid on our EI, and we're going to test all these guys again because we did apply heat in this area. We'll make sure we didn't bridge anything. Okay, why am I not getting... Okay. Okay. It's like, what in the... The flux is kind of getting in the way. The flux plus manufacturer residue. We do not want bridging side to side. Alright, everything looks good. Pretty happy with that. Nope. Alright, and we have connection to the chip through our new filter. Very good. New filter, new coil, whichever you want to call it. Alright, so let's clean up and then we'll inspect, make sure we have no micro bridges, and then we'll perform a test. Alright, let's do one more test. I just want to make sure we don't have any other shorting. We want to make sure we cleared the short on this side too, because I don't want to plug up power then suddenly blow another chip. Well, appears like we are okay. Just check our rails one more time. Or test pads anyway. None of these should be short to ground except the one by the battery, which is ground. That one. Okay. Alright. I am not afraid to put a little bit of power to this. I am going to switch back to our USB-C because I just want to see if it behaves as normal or not. And then we'll try the squid once we have it back in the housing. Alright, let's take a look. 5 volts. Okay, that seems relatively normal. Switch it to the other side. And that seems relatively normal. Awesome. Okay, so we have relatively normal behavior now after replacing the Pi 3 USB. We are going to want to do a dock check on this one because that is the chip that controls it. Everything looks good there. Let's look at the filter. And everything looks good there. Alright, very good. So we will reassemble enough to do a test and come back. Okay, after some difficulties with the system, we're back and ready to perform a test. Now I want to try a test with my new power squid. I told Jason I would test it because he's having some trouble with the ones he built. So I built up one. I'm assuming I can get it in here. Alright. We are at the right voltage. Turn it on. And I'm going to attempt to power up using this squid. Don't need extra regular stuff. Okay, it is powering on. Let me switch you over. Okay. I'm getting an error. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I'm running on a power squid straight to the battery. And I'll show you the squid in just a second. But it seems to work alright. And that's how much power it's drawing from the battery connector. Okay. Now, through this squid, it's actually getting the battery power. And turn it off. Because I do want to check charging on both sides. So for that, I will need the battery. And I'll need my other squid. But for this one, I'll show you. So that's what I put the battery connectors on. And I put, let me see here. So we have the normal switch and the switch light that I've built out for this. And that's pretty cool. It does work. So anyway, let's switch back over here and we're going to plug in our normal USB-C and then we're going to use the battery because I want to check charging before we put this thing back together. And that will not help for this test. That's great for a function test, and I'll definitely use it for that in cases where I have questioning. Alright, so let's plug in, power back up, full battery symbol. I'll switch back to this scene so you can see. Okay, we are charging one way for sure. Let's flip it around. Why are we only getting 0.9? Oh, now it's seeing it. Okay. And flip it around one more time. I want to take a look at the current. Being a little bit weird, but it could just be being weird with the, yeah, it's being weird with the PSU. There we go. 1 amp, both sides, very good. So it's charging on both sides. We're going to power it down. We're going to throw it back together. And let it charge for a while on its own battery. And then we'll perform tests with the Joy-Con. And we'll do a dock test. Okay, had a little bit of a weird event pop up. When I was restarting the switch, or when the switch started after it charged the battery, it popped up with an error 21530321, which is a speaker error of some sort. So the way I solved it, I'm sorry I didn't catch it on screen, but I went straight into troubleshooting mode. The way I solved it was as I took it back apart enough where I could get to the speaker connections, and I just replugged them, and that seemed to solve the error. So for your edification, that's the solution I came up with for that error. I did do some research. I didn't, go into it blind. All right, let's see if we're charging our Joy-Cons, and I will switch you over, which we appear to be doing just fine. All right, that's good. I want to make sure we're picking up our signals, our network. Oh, we're on airplane mode. How did we get to airplane mode? Okay. Okay, and we have our network back. It was on airplane mode for some reason. Probably purposely, but I needed to test it, so. Alright, well that's really all I have to test on that. I do want to do a dock test, so I'm going to set up for that, and we'll be right back. Okay, and as you can see in the top left there, it is docking. Yay! So, it appears our work has solved our problem. I'm going to let it charge for a little while longer, and we'll come back and summarize. We took it apart, did initial testing. We found a short by the M92 T36 chip, but that was the capacitor that was tied to PI 3 USB. So we had to disassemble entirely. We did testing on the other side. We found one bad filter in the line of filters between the port and PI 3 USB. And we also found a short on the cap for PI 3 USB. So what we did was we replaced PI 3 USB, and then we also replaced that filter and tested everything out and made sure we had no more shorts either around the PI 3 USB or the M92 T36. And we tested it. Everything seemed to be working normal. We put it back together. We ended up having everything seemed to work right when we put it together enough to test. We tested with our squid, and that was cool. Then I let it charge, and when it came up, it gave me a 21530321 error. This is some sort of audio error with the speakers. So I had to tear it back down. I did not catch this on video, and I just unplugged and replugged in the speakers, and we were okay again. Everything seems to be okay again. So I'm going to continue to let it charge for a while longer. We're back up. We've gone up from 10% to 11% just sitting here. I'm going to let it charge for a little while longer, and then I'm going to take it back to the shop. And that will be the end of this repair. If you have any questions about the equipment I used in this video, all the equipment is linked in the description below. If you like this video, do me a favor and hit the like button on your way out. If you want to see more content like this, I post about 2 videos a week. If you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I post. It's usually on Mondays and Thursdays. And that's really all I have to ask of you. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.